This whole thing would bring him 1 billion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
1 billion Vietnamese dong is
There it is.
Japanese Wagyu, caviar, truffles.
Woo!
These are just some of the foods found on fine dining menus around the world.
Damn.
But why do people like them? And even more, why are they so darn expensive?
There's a lot of items that make sense as far as being on a fine dining menu. But with oysters, I don't completely understand.
In this exclusive series, we're demystifying high-end cuisine and following high-priced ingredients back to their source.
Whoa, ninja!
You guys should build a sidewalk.
Today we're going deep into the world of oysters, visiting a remote floating ocean farm.
This is the typical oyster everybody knows. When you go to a restaurant,
I want to see how locals cook up this tasty treat
it looks like it's fried.
compared to one of the most luxurious fine dining restaurants in town.
Oh, what a fancy feast.
It all starts right here.
Twin, the fine dining series officially starts right now.
Doesn't feel like it here, yeah?
I know. Do you know where we are?
I have no idea.
You should know where we are. We didn't blindfold you or anything.
Quang Ninh is a coastal province in northeastern Vietnam. Fishermen here supply a huge amount of seafood to nearby provinces and cities, especially oysters.
All these bamboo lattices being supported just by big bricks of styrofoam. I think that's what makes it float.
I didn't even pay attention. I'm trying to figure out how I can walk on those.
And then there's tons of strings that are holding these oysters.
These suckers have been hanging by a thread in the ocean for nearly a year. That means it's time to harvest.
There's about 30 people out here all working together, kind of forming a human chain, picking the oysters and bringing it into the boat. How often does this happen?
Yeah, around a year.
Oh, year round?
Yeah.
Today we're getting a closer look at Mr. Lin's oyster farm.
Oh, some of these are mussels too, though.
Be careful though, it's super sharp.
Years ago, he left the area's prominent charcoal industry in the mountains and headed for the coast, buying boats and building the bamboo structures that would become home to thousands of oysters.
What made you want to switch gears and live the oyster life?
Yeah. So he said mainly because of the profit.
Oh, it's not for the love of oysters?
With only 10 of these bamboo lattice structures spread across the sea, Ninh is able to produce 200 tons of oysters per year.
Bamboo is very strong. It's nearly unbreakable. Some say, oh God, it is breakable.
Oh my God.
Each structure earns him roughly $45,000. Multiply that by 10 farms, and you've got one man very happy with his investment.
How do you plant an oyster? How do you grow an oyster?
At first, the oysters are small like his nail. Okay.
What? Are you sure that's small?
They attach everything into this rope, and I asked him like, okay, do you do anything in that 1 year? And he said, no, I just left it there. They eat like tiny little creatures in the ocean.
Now, I've heard oysters are kind of like the filters for the ocean, keeping it clean. So in that case, is it still good to eat?
Ăn vô có sao không? I see a smirk right there.
Mr. Ninh grows two types of oysters. This is known as a sea acorn, a domestically grown, bite-sized creature.
The other one, like you need to buy the shell. This one, it just attached by itself.
So you just put string in the water and these shells grow on it?
Oh yeah, he said exactly like that.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm interested.
They take 6 months to raise, and they're less profitable, but they're low risk and in high demand among locals.
I like it. Briny, oceany taste. It's not so overwhelming.
Then there's this guy,
Whoa!
the Pacific oyster.
This is the typical oyster everybody knows. When you go to a restaurant, is everything okay?
A much bigger species, often exported overseas.
There it is, like a big goober.
Why do I have such a big one? Oh, I'm so salty. I want to eat it in my...
Oh, it tastes like just drinking a cup of straight up ocean water. It is very salty. I like that it's meaty, but it's also kind of gooey. It's pretty iffy. Bigger is not always better.
Okay, I shouldn't laugh. I don't understand that.
While most of these oysters are being exported, some are sold locally in Vietnam. Here, these ladies are doing some oyster shucking. like a lot of shucking, making their way through this massive pile.
Ma'am, did you make this in prison? How'd you get this knife? What is going on there? This is what I did to the last guy who asked too many questions. Once you have your shiv in hand, that's ram. No, what? That's only in Japan.
These shells will be tied back together on the same ocean-faring string and thrown back in the water, where a new generation of these guys will grow.
How much do you think this would sell for at the market?
5.000 đồng một con.
5,000 dong.
5,000.
Yeah.
Does it blow your mind that in Saigon there are some fine dining restaurants that sell these guys for like $2 a piece?
Sốc quá.
She said very shocked. Yeah. She's very happy that she can sell this for 5,000 here, since
really?
this is the source of it. She understands in Saigon because people have to pay for logistic money.
Now,
Cái điện thoại của ai vậy ta?
oh, I thought we were doing a flashback sequence.
Before we jump into some of the world's fanciest oysters, we're getting a humble, heart-filled local lunch.
Ma'am, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Vậy ơi.
She started cooking at 9 and spent 20 years in the kitchen so far.
You have all types of different seafood, especially oysters. How popular are the oysters on the menu?
Hà của mình là rất nhiều người muốn ăn luôn.
Oyster and shrimp are like the most popular items on the menu.
Today, Miss On is cooking us 4 very different oyster dishes, sourced straight from the farms we just visited.
She just invited us to try this dish.
It looks like it's fried.
Nice catch!
Dish 1, deep-fried sea acorn.
It's a sea acorn, but like it's the bigger one.
Oh, there's a big and a small variety?
Yeah.
They've been basking in the ocean for 6 months. Now, they're soaking up some dill and flour.
Oh, hi, yo.
Yo.
I don't know if I've had fried oysters. That's pretty good. It has the seafood essence without all the ocean water taste. What do you think?
It's really rich.
Yeah, it's rich and high in nutrition. I fucking love nutrition. Raw.
This is like chicken nugget.
Chicken nuggets of the sea. Just to be sure about the taste, I better have one more. What is that? Is that coriander?
Coriander, yeah. Mừng luôn.
You have the farm right next door. It's super fresh. It's super affordable for you guys. Is this still looked at as some special food, or are you just kind of used to it?
She said like the taste still tastes very good to them, but I think it's because it's so commonly eaten that, you know, it's not that big of a deal like what it is to us.
For me, it's a very big deal.
Same.
Before we leave your kitchen, I want you to get back to work, but can we try one more dish with these small acorn oysters? Editor, this is where you put in the voiceover. It's made with this, this, and this. Oh, yeah. And then she comes back, and then we're back in the scene. Oh, great. What is this one?
This is a sea acorn with a tomato sauce, topped up with fresh dill. This is her childhood dish.
Well, let's take a bite of your childhood. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's ultra yummy.
You can taste the dill, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, wow.
Ultra savory, nice acid from the tomato. The oyster is just kind of soft and tender and breaking apart, but none of that like aggressive oceanic taste. It's kindly welcomed into my stomach.
Oh, nice.
Our last 2 dishes in Wang Ninh feature these giant oysters. Raw oysters set upon perilla leaves with a sprig of fresh julienned ginger, and grilled oysters topped with an in-house special sauce containing chili sauce, scallions, fried shallots, and peanuts.
5-star, 5 dining view.
It's got a great view. I got a little bit of lime juice on here, some of this really thick soy sauce. Let's try it out. Just shovel the whole thing back, I think. Oh, wow. The leaf is what makes it a salad. That, I don't know, it's just a big glob of ocean water. What about for you over there on your side of the table?
Just a lot of salt water coming from the oyster.
A tidal wave of ocean water going down my throat.
Oh.
Uninvited.
No, you invited it.
No, I didn't want it. Okay, so we tried the raw version. This has been grilled. Okay.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. It's savory, nice crunchy peanuts, hit a scallion oil in there. God dang it. It's one of those foods where there's so many ways to prepare it, and I definitely don't like all the ways. I like about half of them.
My favorite so far.
And I think that is a recipe we're not gonna find in the fine dining establishment.
Oysters are perceived as high-end luxury food, but as you've seen, ordinary coastal folks enjoy them too.
About 35 cents, good deal.
Yeah.
Super cheap.
Really good deal.
So, what gives? Are some oysters really better than others? Or are some patrons paying a whole lot extra for nothing? Twin and I are going undercover in our best threads to find out more, here at The Log.
Chef Hoang. How would you describe the type of food you serve here?
Chuyên nghiệp fine dining.
Yes. The log specifies in fine dining experience, serve a lot of luxury food, including seafood, oysters.
What makes oysters a fine dining food?
First, you would look at the shell. If the shell is clean, it doesn't have a lot of stuff on it, then it would be raised far away in the ocean. Because when you have oyster like next to the shore, it's not very good because it's too close and the water is not clean.
Our first taste of the high life, oyster with caviar.
And where's this oyster from?
It's French origin, but they made in Vietnam.
Oh.
The chef washes the oysters with a combination of soy sauce, kumquat juice, and sugar. Add shrimp soaked in olive oil lemon sauce and top it with caviar. Fancy AF.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Wow.
That's delicious.
Really good.
Some nice caviar on there, bringing some salt game. And then the oyster itself is just a little bit briny, but it's so meaty.
Oh, I think it's so good.
Wrong wire.
Ngon.
I gotta say, oysters, it's confusing. Because I eat some oysters and I'm like, how can anyone eat this? And then I eat that and I think it's fantastic. What do? Tell him my problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh. For him, there is no problem. He's like, I like his, so we're good.
Oyster 2, a grilled French oyster with truffle sauce.
Eat it together with the salmon roll.
But what is it sitting on?
Decoration.
It's a decorative cake?
Anh hỏi có ăn được không?
Oh no.
You can eat it, but it will taste salty.
I'm learning a lot about fine dining. You guys make cakes that you just throw away.
I know, it's such a waste.
First, they're briefly oven cooked, making them reduce in size, priming them to soak up some new flavors. Add white beans, then squeeze on a truffle-infused roux. Last, torch it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Along with the meatiness, you taste the truffle right away. Just a little residual kind of oyster flavor. And then I'm just gonna eat some of this cake.
Oh my God, he wants you.
He's right, that's the worst cake I've ever had.
Our main course contains a cornucopia of oyster creations, including the smaller French oysters and these giant imported Japanese oysters, all raw with various sauces and flavors.
Which countries are most famous for their oysters? Which countries have the most expensive oysters?
So he said that one's the best from France.
Is there anything the Vietnamese oyster could do to get a little higher on your list?
In Vietnam, he would like it to be pushed the oyster farm a little further to deeper water to improve the quality.
Putting in the water.
Whoa.
Ooh, what a fancy feast. Wow, you know, a big part of fine dining is for your food to be literally smoking. I didn't realize that. It should almost have like a Halloween theme. These are like spooky oysters. Now we have the French oysters grown in Vietnam, but these big ones are actually from Japan. You know how they got here? In an airplane.
Again?
More food that is allowed to fly during COVID-19 while I'm stuck in Vietnam.
Come on.
Not complaining. The first thing we should do is just try this Japanese oyster.
Itadakimasu.
Cheers. Bro, it's a bit much for the first date.
It's a lot.
I don't understand oysters. I either love them or hate them. I'm gonna wash it down with some white wine. Do you want to pretend? I know you don't drink, so just pretend to put it to your lips.
Cheers.
So this one, this has caviar, a very small bird laid an egg in here. I like that.
I like this one.
That's good. This one has mascarpone and caviar on it. More tolerable. Cheesy, creamy. I like the caviar, but that's still
It's still a lot.
it's big.
When it comes to fine dining, customer perception and the story behind the food is as important as the food itself.
So what I learned today is that not all oysters are created equal. Turns out the quality is pretty different depending on the country it comes from, but I guess even where it's raised. But even this Japanese one, which is huge, it's very expensive, that for me is too much.
I do think that a lot of people, they want that big oyster.
But when I look at an oyster, I still have no idea. I just never know.
For me, some oysters are great, and some I choke down while trying to maintain a smile. After all, this is fancy food, and the last thing I want to do is appear uncivilized. From researching and shooting to editing and mastering. Our 10-person Best Ever Food Review Show team works hard to roll out the highest quality travel food entertainment twice a week. If you like what we do here, please consider supporting our Patreon. Patreon allows fans of the show to contribute a monthly sum and receive a load of extras like early video releases, private Q&As, and beyond.
To learn more about our Patreon, check out the link in the description box down below. And if you can't give or don't even feel like it, that's okay too. We're just happy you're here. Huge thank you to Twin for joining me in this video. Can we have a quick awkward handshake? Guys, that is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I would like to say it respectfully, a peace.